Ladies and gentlemen, happy freaking Friday. We are back. Mm-hmm. We are fresh off of another live show. I don't want to be repetitive, but I think we're built to perform in front of crowds.
Huge crowds.
Huge. I think all along, like, we've really settled into this podcast thing.
Yep.
You know, we've gotten pretty good at it. I think we got a good flow going. But I think we're crowd guys. I think we're audience guys.
I think you guys are afraid to release the live episode that we actually recorded.
That's right.
Absolutely are.
That's right. We got on a group chat, an actual group chat last night, late, and we said, "Yo, we gotta can this thing."
Well,
D was off the rails.
Too dangerous. D's off the rails. I think there's something about D in front of an audience. He's like Trump at a rally.
Yeah.
Just says wild shit because he knows they love it. And he literally at one point in West Hollywood stopped and said, "Who here's gay?"
Yeah.
Exact words.
It was.
Why is that offensive?
Inappropriate.
If you guys take offense to that, then it's offensive.
I think the crowd was off-put by your comments.
I also think you said white men are worth more than Asian men. You said those words.
So why didn't we release the episode if you're just saying everything I said?
Because the context, you said it.
This context is worse. He just says white men.
What's funnier is if we say that we don't agree with your thoughts, that's what we're putting out on the pod, that's okay. Just saying the thoughts, not okay.
I disagree.
Okay, well, listen.
We almost had to
protect
cancel
you.
D.
Yeah.
Probably the pod would have exploded.
It probably would have. It's probably the worst decision we ever made.
Because they were like, can you believe what this guy said?
Yeah.
At least they'll be curious.
It's true. I also think that if you were a white man, it'd be less. Like, I think like a white guy can't stand on stage and talk about race the way that you do.
Yeah.
There was a lot. You said a lot of race things.
Yeah.
Good thing it's not recorded.
You're Indian, people are like,
why are they?
Whatever.
Yeah, Indian people aren't going to be offended by that.
I think D thought he was Chappelle up there, being able to tackle sensitive issues, but not really make it funny.
You did. You had a lot of racially charged.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I think in regular life. Why do I have to hide it?
So maybe you're a homophobic racist.
When I walk around, I have these thoughts in my head.
Maybe D should go on the Ben Shapiro pod.
Yeah.
I would love to
you
if
should
you'd
go
invite me.
on frickin'... What's one
Alex
of those
Jones?
Crazy, yeah, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is more me than... I don't really want to talk about politics.
And Coulter.
No, but that's very political.
But who's the guy? Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
You'd be really good at the, like, was that racist? I'm not, what?
Yeah.
On to the next story.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That felt a little weird. That felt a little bigoted.
It's interesting because I mention race often, and it's interesting to see how different people react to that information.
Like who? Like the races you're talking about?
Like you guys may have thought it was racist. Someone else may have thought it's something else.
Yeah, and I don't. Just to be clear for the listener, I didn't think it was racist.
Yeah,
and I don't think you're actually
racially.
racist.
Obviously, I'm not.
Yeah,
it's just could be.
I have white friends.
It could easily be misconstrued.
I have a white wife.
It's just not worth it. It's just easily misconstrued because it didn't add anything.
That's in your opinion. You're also
I think Drama's opinion too.
Yeah, mine too.
But you guys are pussies.
Listen,
like if
you guys are afraid. Oh my God! What would
if it added to the discussion and it was relevant, then sure.
Anytime 2 out of the 3 on the pod agree on something, we have to make that move. Whether it's what we're eating for lunch, or whether or not to release a racist podcast.
I think we would have had way more downloads if it was truly a racist podcast.
Okay, well, listen. How about this? Come to our next live show, and you get to see it.
Yeah.
Or you could recreate it on the detour, where you get to be the one.
Yeah, why don't you do it next detour episode? Why white men are worth more than Asian men?
I mean, if Wuhan has taught us anything, that I'm fucking right.
Oh, Jesus.
See, here we go. Let's move on before we get caught. So, listen, incredible time. I mean, like I said, I don't want to be repetitive, but I think for me, like, I felt more comfortable. I felt like we all felt more comfortable than ever.
Yeah, I'm saying whatever I want. I'm very comfortable.
You're literally saying whatever you want. I felt like the reaction was really good. Afterwards, a lot of people stuck around this time.
Yeah, I like that. It was really fun just hanging out with people afterwards.
Yeah, it was. And I think really good reaction. As always, incredible crowd of people.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. It's just cool. It's just
it was a lot of fun.
Good energy. And it's just so interesting when you meet the people that listen to it. They're like fascinating.
And what's cool is it's a lot of repeat attendees. Because we are talking about new news. So if you like our perspective, the live show doesn't get repetitive because there's a whole new slew of topics.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we asked the audience to tell us whose dick pic they'd love to see, and it went over really well.
Yes.
It was a good way to start the show.
Yeah.
You know, if you ever want to, listeners, if you ever want to break the ice, just ask someone, you know, whose dick pic they'd love to see.
Yeah.
It's a good way to.
That's going to be our new segment for those that didn't attend.
Yep.
It's a weekly segment called Pick a Dick.
Pick a dick. Okay.
Dick pic.
Okay. What about this? You guys, we're rushing out this episode. We're going to try to do another episode for Monday because you guys are out of here.
I'm
You're going
checked
to
out.
boondoggle.
I am on the ultimate boondoggle.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a true boondoggle for me because all the other ones has a fashion element to it.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I actually,
working.
you know, network and it's interesting and I learned something from a fashion. This has no business relevance to me at all. Going to the Super Bowl.
I can't wait.
It is just my party weekend. Very excited.
You're just putting your tequila hat on.
I'm putting my tequila hat on. Not that I've taken it off, but Miami Super Bowl, big game, big weekend.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go to Brian and John's party with Post Malone, hosted by our stage mate Kevin Hart.
Oh, our opener.
That's
Our
right.
opener.
Yeah.
So we talked about this at the live event, and someone asked me for a table. They're like, how much is the table? I'm like, I don't know, 10 grand, 5 grand. So I go on the website. They have a table, which Brian was telling us last night about, for $150,000.
Sold.
But it's not a table. It's actually a boat that holds 80 people that
80
pulls up to the party.
I mean, for a boat for 80 people, and you get to stay on the boat throughout the party, like come and go?
I would assume, yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're super rich,
I don't think it's a bad deal.
kind of worth it.
Yeah. The other promo I saw at 11, which is the 24-hour strip club in Miami that we all enjoy,
Yeah.
That's fine.
it was doing a package for 1.1 million, 10 Super Bowl tickets, hotels, bottles, everything, like the whole weekend kind of covered. It's obviously incredible marketing, but I
Why
think
the point one?
they're 11.
Come on, drama.
You knew that?
No, but I'm like,
Damn, that's good.
But I think it's just like the most excess weekend.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine was telling me a 3-bedroom condo at the one hotel went for $13,000 a night.
Because think about it, it's not only like the young ballers, like Fashion Week type stuff or whatever.
It's like
It's also old white money.
yeah,
is down
it's,
there.
It's really, 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 really rich.
and it's
people.
corporate money.
Yeah.
You know what? Corporate has a lot of waste.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
This
same as
is
old
waste.
white money,
Yeah, sure.
right? It's like because it's Super Bowl. I mean, football is just so like.
yeah.
I mean, every rich person.
Yeah, it is like billionaire central, and it's obviously a huge game. Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's obviously one of the biggest weekends for gambling. The Chiefs are favored by, I think, 1.5. I saw
It's down to 1,
down to 1. I think the over under was like 54.5,
which is high.
which is high. I think my prediction is big blowout Chiefs win.
Interesting. I think it's going to be tight. I think the Chiefs win. They have an electric quarterback. They have an electric offense. I think it's going to be high scoring, but I think it'll be close.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Yes, it's football.
Got it. So not soccer, because there's kind of a mix up there sometimes. No, when it comes to like setting all these lines and stuff, like how, like, I'm guessing the amount of money bet on Super Bowl is insane.
Billions, yeah.
When you set an over under that high, like you have some information. Like, how are they setting these lines?
So initially, the way they set the line is mathematical models.
Okay.
So they just run simulations on what the teams have done this year, and then come up with an over under. Depending on what the defense is, they figured it out. But once the line is set, the idea of the book is to have 50% of the bets on each side because they just want to make the vig.
Yeah.
So the line moves accordingly. So if a lot of money keeps coming on one side of the line, they start moving it so that they want 50% on each side. So the over-under actually opened at 52 and it jumped to 54.5, which is a massive jump.
But that's what's crazy to me is it doesn't seem, I know that's a massive jump in gambling.
Yeah.
But that means that their initial, with no data, like no information about who's betting where, guess was within 2 points.
Yeah, but think about the amount of data they have. There's been billions and billions of dollars bet on the NFL the entire season.
I know, but
So-
how many points these guys are going to score? It just seems like, how do you have any
It's all-
idea?
I mean,
It's
if
all
we think
fixed.
about
That's the only answer
no,
that makes sense.
it's not fixed. I mean, think about what
That's the
Everything
only
else
way.
in life is fixed. Of course, the NFL is nuts.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I just don't understand how you could guess it within
math is
anything.
really good. I'm sorry to break it to you.
But math about two teams and how they're going to play.
I mean, Google Gmail can predict your email. You don't even need to write an email anymore.
Yeah,
And
if
Jeffrey
I say-
Epstein
if
did
I
kill
say,
himself.
see you win and it says I get there, that's not nearly as tricky
Yeah.
as, I don't know. Because it seems like obviously if they weren't right more than wrong, the industry wouldn't exist, right? It just blows my mind that
Yeah.
on something that big, you're able to pick up 54. That's the number.
Yeah.
And you know it's going to be right around there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not going to be
Shady.
25.
Shady.
Okay.
And Demi Lovato's doing the national anthem. And halftime is Shakira and J-Lo.
That's cricket
But,
central.
yeah, I will probably not be watching.
There's no chance we'll be at the
I
halftime
just
show.
don't
So don't
get,
ask
like-
us for the recap.
Shakira.
What do? You go get drinks during that part?
Drinks, mingle, see friends.
Maybe get a pretzel.
Ooh.
I like one of those giant soft pretzels with
Yeah.
big salt.
You do cheese or no?
I'm going, yeah, we'll do cheese this week.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Load it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. You ready for some news? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this Barstool Sports situation. Barstool Sports took on a massive investment from Penn National Gaming, a gambling company. We talked about it a little bit on the pod that they were getting ready to do it. They did it. And my biggest concern was how this is going to look to their audience, because their audience is such this cult following that loves all those guys. Is it going to look like they sold out, blah, blah, blah? I mean, El Presidente released a video explaining the whole thing that was super low budget, but
Yeah.
perfect. He then released, we talked about it last night, a tweet that said, I can't see the link. Is this link broken? Can someone click it and tell me you clicked the link and it's celebrity net worth of $100 million? And it looks like they're already in Miami heavy with those planes that trail. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
The planes that go up and down South Beach with the flags behind them.
Yeah.
And it's just Barstool logos and it's El Presidente's face. And this seems like they're just on top of the world, and this seems like a perfect move.
This is a monster deal for Barstool. Obviously, valuing the business nearly almost $500 million. I think it was like $150 some odd million check. This company, Barstool, was valued at about $100 million in the last couple of years when the Chernin Group made a majority stake investment.
No, the majority stake actually came when Barstool was only worth 10 to 15 million.
And then they
bucks.
did another
Then
investment.
they doubled down.
And so in this transaction, Chernin Group and obviously Barstool stockholders, probably employees, sold a stake of their company. Obviously, El Presidente is richer than shit now. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is I think this is the absolute perfect marriage, because they got bought by an entity that is not going to affect the way they run their business or the content that's created. If they were bought by a traditional media company, let's say Disney bought them,
No, they couldn't.
it would just never work. It'd be a disaster.
This
And
guy
they
had a
would-
sex tape a month ago.
yeah, and the challenge is that they can't, they need to have total creative freedom. And a business like gambling buying them. So Penn National Gaming owns tons of casinos, racetracks. They have the vision that they outlined on El Presidente's speech was Barstool casinos, Barstool pizzerias, bars. I mean, it's kind of genius. Yeah. It's like the perfect partner. And most media entities like a BuzzFeed or a Vice or even The Ringer cannot find a home like this and get valued like this. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and I think it's just comparing apples and oranges between like a Ringer and Barstool. This is the perfect marriage for Barstool because they are a cultural phenomenon, right? Barstool, when you hear Barstool, you already have the picture of the person listening to it.
My one thing, though, is I think you're right on the comparison between Barstool and The Ringer.
Yeah.
That is true. Vice could have done that.
Yeah, but they just didn't innovate. Their content got stale.
But I'm saying if they would have went a different route other than just the purely media route. I mean, Vice used to have a really big brand.
Yeah.
There could have been Vice, all sorts of things. I don't know what, but like, I think that part is interesting, that it opens your eyes to like, look, just because you make content doesn't mean you have to follow a strictly media blueprint.
Yeah.
And now these guys might end up this crazy business worth billions of dollars in 3 years. and have all of these locations. Like, wow, who would have even thought to go that way?
Like if there was a Barstool Casino in Las Vegas, it's winning.
Yeah.
You would want to watch sports there. You would want to hang out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, Barstool is a phenomenon. I mean, what they've created in the last 5 years and the way they've basically eaten ESPN's lunch in terms of where sub 40-year-old male consumes their sports content. Like, it's just no question.
Is that Presidente? Is
And
Presidente
do you know what's
an
funny is if
absolute
you go to
genius?
Wall Street,
That's why he's the Presidente.
if you go to Wall Street, any Wall Street office, and you have these like rich 38-year-old bankers, they're all listening
They
to
love it.
Barstool.
Yeah.
They love it. It's a high-income person, not only just this like frat dude that loves Barstool.
Yeah,
It's like aspirational the other way.
It's
Yeah.
like they
It's like
wish
when
they
you're
could be
married,
them.
You have a
Yeah.
great life, but you kind of want to be a piece of shit.
You want to
Yeah.
be El Presidente doing
Yeah.
coke,
Doing
having
coke,
sex,
having sex.
eating pizza.
I mean, that girl even in his sex tape was like the token girl that all those guys wish they were having sex with. He did it perfectly.
No,
but I
it's-
just like, man, you're telling me there's no, not that I discount him, but it's so rare that people are able to be such good like entertainers and also
Good business.
good business and creative like intelligence. Like
But let's be
strategic.
clear, like the Chernin Group owns the majority of the company. So there is an adult in the room. So
Yeah.
while El Presidente may be a genius or may not, he's a hell of an entertainer and that can't be taken away from him. But there are adults in the room that are driving the business decisions because there's another corporation that owns a majority of it. I think the genius is the Chernin Group allows them to be them because most companies would have stifled this once they got some real traction and became mainstream. Like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't put out a sex tape.
If I had a kid right now that was like 6 or 7, and I could only teach him one skill really, really well, it'd be how to communicate well on social media.
Yeah.
That thing that El Presidente does, the thing that the president does, that thing that just allows you, because like it really feels like if you can do that well, you can sell anything.
Yeah.
Like a guy literally social media'd himself into the White House.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was really funny on TMZ. Harvey was interviewing him, and and Dave goes, "Huh? What? I'm rich. I can't hear you."
But it's like that shamelessness, unfortunately, only works for that type of person. Like Trump can get away with it. El Presidente can get away with it. So I don't want people to think that model of being the chauvinist, obnoxious person works because you have to be that guy 7 days a week, 24/7. You can't dip in and out of it.
I feel like Dee does.
Yeah, I'm dipping in. I'm dipping out.
He's in and out.
It's
He's
working.
chauvinist and home dancing with Dom. And then yeah, no, I agree. But it's just wild to see, like, because I honestly, when I look back, I don't know how many years ago, 4 years ago maybe, when I first started seeing Barstool, I was like, oh, this is just like almost like a meme account ran by a funny dude. It was almost similar to like a fat Jewish
Yeah.
situation to me. And now
It's
like,
going to be a multi-billion-dollar business.
yeah. Jesus.
Good for them.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about another business move. Nordstrom has announced that they are going to be launching like secondhand shops. Like there's that place called The Real, which does like reselling of luxury goods. Nordstrom's getting into the business of that. Interesting move. I mean, it feels to me like it's a move in the direction of like what's going on, what people are talking about. What do you guys think? Does this have any grounds?
I think it's great. I don't really think a lot of the things Nordstrom has done, like their New York store and how they launched it, I thought that was kind of a flop. Resale is here to stay. And I truly believe that is the most sustainable thing you can do in fashion is buy old stuff. And I think it's going to become a bigger and bigger trend. And Nordstrom has the retail stores in the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country to actually execute what Real is doing. Mm-hmm. They actually already have the infrastructure to do it, while Real has to go physically open up stores, distribution centers. So like they should have done this 5 years ago. I don't think it's too late. I think they already have the customer. They still do billions of dollars at retail. They just have to like put their foot in the ground. They're calling this a 6-month test, but like you need to do it. Like you have to do it because all these luxury brands, I think, are going to get into the space too. They're just not going to let Real. If Real share their data and they said it's like probably like 60% of resales are LVMH brands. LVMH eventually is going to just do it. Like why do we need you?
Anand?
So I think what Nordstrom's doing is taking the advantages of running a retail store and having high margin businesses because your high rents can justify it, and going into a low margin business, which I think is thinking backwards. While they do need to innovate and they need to be a little more progressive in the way they think, it just seems like a very defensive move. And I do agree that resale's here to stay, and I'm not even certain that the way we've seen the ones that have done it are the ways that are going to win, because no one's making money across the board. StockX, GOAT, The RealReal, everyone's bleeding cash. So sure, they've created massive marketplaces, but any of these sustainable? So can someone come from scratch and take the advantages of both retail and the online marketplace and make it better? Absolutely. Is Nordstrom the team to do it? Absolutely not. They haven't proven it. Their big tech acquisition was Trunk Club, which is $350 million acquisition probably 7-8 years ago, and that's written down to zero.
Yeah.
So they haven't shown anything that makes me think that they can operate a technology marketplace.
I don't think it's anything to do with technology. That's why. I think it's about sourcing the right product and authenticate that it's real. RealReal is not a technology company.
It seems like curating and authenticating is such a big piece of that business.
Yeah, of course, but that's not technology.
No, I agree. I wouldn't say that it is technology necessarily.
Yeah.
I just think these companies like Nordstrom, it's like I almost don't fault them for trying anything because you have to find something.
Yeah.
And like they're so screwed the way that they are. Who gives a shit about Nordstrom? And it's like I don't know what I would tell them to do if I was in charge, but like, man, they're in a tough spot. Like I feel like you got to just try everything and hope something sticks.
I agree. I think, look, Walmart did it. Sure, they made a lot of bad bets, but they also learned the grocery business. Maybe one of those bad bets taught them that. Who knows?
Okay, well, we'll see. How about this? This one really seems like a bad bet to me, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. Atari, the game company, is opening a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Seems crazy.
I think there's enough dorks that would stay in that.
What's the age group of the dork?
How many doors?
40 plus.
Isn't Atari
So
like...
this is like they're like a boys' weekend.
Yes.
Isn't Atari like
Because you can't
60?
take the family.
No,
to
I
It's
played
Atari
Atari.
hot.
We had Atari.
I probably was at the age where Atari just was tapering off.
Okay, so we'll say 40
Because it
and up.
was super,
It's 40 up.
Yeah.
So you telling me there's enough 40 and ups that want to relive their childhood on a weird weekend? And
Let's say how big is the hotel? 50 room, 100 room? There's enough. How big is it?
I thought I read it was only 8.
8 rooms?
Yeah, but it's
no,
like really.
that's somebody's house.
That's called an
That's a
Airbnb.
hotel. That's just a big house.
No, but
in
they're super like
Scottsdale.
immersive environments.
Okay.
I could have read it wrong, but
Yeah,
I thought
maybe.
it said 8.
But what a waste of money! There's no way how are you gonna make any money off that?
Well,
You're
maybe it's
fully
just-
booked. All 8 rooms are booked.
Yeah, there are small boutique hotels.
It's literally, that's an Airbnb.
Yeah, but here's my point. I think the concept, like Barstool Hotel, I think things that have, in like a crazy fandom, can do things like this. And Atari probably still has a nostalgic fandom that is just like there's people that probably collect it. There's probably still like weird conventions where people get together and talk about and play Atari games. There are probably fanatical people in this little group, and I think it can spread across a lot of different ideas. That's what Saved by the Bell did with their pop-up, or Seinfeld had it a few years ago down here on Melrose and in New York City where they had the apartment.
Did you ever go to that, by the way?
No, I
That's
never.
so
The line was too
different.
long.
You didn't
The
have
reason
a
why I
plug.
think that's so different is because you're living out kind of a moment from the show. We're like,
Yeah.
here's the famous coffee shop they went to in the show, and oh my gosh, we're going to do a pop-up and rebrand this coffee shop to that coffee
Yeah.
shop. Atari never had any tie-in to where you stay the night and have a...
You play video games and you go stay at the hotel. You
Yeah,
play
it's
some video
sleepovers.
games.
What are you talking about? 45-year-olds are
Just
probably doing.
oh my gosh, imagine if it's all decorated like you're 12 again,
Yeah.
having a sleepover. It's just...
I mean, it's gonna work in a small footprint. You try to create 8 or 10 of these, don't. But one.
Do you think they have so much money that this is a marketing play that it doesn't matter if
I
it really
think they're
works?
just trying to they're licensing their IP, and I think that's what all these dead brands that actually meant something 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago are trying to do, because the IP is still valuable. Like Sports Illustrated got bought by Authentic Brands.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated is still an iconic name. Sure, the magazine is defunct and no one's ever going to read the content the way they put it out, but
Yeah, if there was a
still meant-
Sports Illustrated sports bar, people will go to it.
Like the Maxim party is still a thing
yeah.
at Super Bowl. It's
And is
one
it-
of the high.
Is it this year?
Yeah, I mean, is there a Maxim
There's one of-
magazine still?
I have no idea.
I mean, it exists. It is
Yeah.
on newsstands.
Yeah, but the party's still hot.
The party's still hot because to the corporate fat cat, he
Fat
has
cat.
been looking at Maxim.
dying to meet that.
Yeah.
Samantha Hoops. Oh boy.
What's funny is that when for the last 10 years going to Super Bowl parties, seeing the transition from it used to be ESPN party, Sports Illustrated, Maxim. Now it's Bootsy's and Barstool. Like those are the two. Barstool party is if you're a young white male, you have to go to the Barstool party.
Does
That
El
is-
Presidente give a speech?
I've been to the Barstool party. I forgot. I checked it out. I forgot in what city. It is fucking wild. It's like imagine 1,000 Rob Gronkowskis.
I would imagine like you should only be able to buy like
Yes.
beers, and they set it on the table and they poke it so you can shotgun it and they hand it to you.
Yeah, like
And
there was
that's-
mud wrestling. Female mud wrestling at one of them.
I feel like especially here because they knew. I mean, this is like the first big weekend since this big sale.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
he's-
they timed the announcement.
Of
for
course,
this weekend.
because El Presidente, I just hope he survives the weekend.
Yeah.
This guy's
Oh my
out of his mind.
God.
Wasn't there the video of him doing coke in Vegas?
Yeah.
And everyone's cheering him on?
Yeah.
Like at the DJ booth.
What's gonna happen at 11?
Oh,
if that's what
man.
he was doing in
I
Vegas
hope he makes it out of there, man. Pray for El Presidente.
They also have Rough and Rowdy down there. This
Oh yeah, they
weekend.
do, hosted by Dana White.
What's
they have
Rough
a
and Rowdy?
boxing match.
It's an amateur boxing match, which is like sticking people from fucking like West Virginia and Kentucky and
just
just
playing them-
throwing them at each
They
other.
do, and they do promos. It's like some hillbilly dude, like, I'll stomp you out, man. I don't care if you were in the military. And he's like, listen, this little hillbilly's going to get his shit kicked in.
Wow.
And then it's like they throw you in a ring together, and
It's-
Dana White is hosting it.
Oh my god! And it's brought to you by Barstool. Sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, how much
It's
did
only
to
available
pay
on
Dana
Barstool.
White? That dude's rich.
Oh, and yes.
And it's not UFC related, so he's not contracted to do it.
He probably likes it.
Think about it. There's that big
Yeah, maybe.
JoJo
there's like-
and the Jake Paul fight is in Miami this
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
The JoJo and what's his name? Tevin Farmer. Then the game. Then Rough and Rowdy. Whew. You guys need
Crazy.
to go to as much shit as you can.
Yeah, I know.
I want as many recaps as I can get.
Yeah.
From
Of
whatever
all
you
the things you just announced or just listed, there's zero chance we're going to any of those.
The only thing we're going to is
Just the game.
Bootsy, and then we have an event at the Webster Saturday evening for Alice Gray. I'll be there.
And we will be at Cipriani Saturday night in the private room having
God
dinner.
damn
See,
it.
this is why you guys got to bring me, so I go do all this.
Are
Yeah.
you,
Report
Dan, is
back.
that fight tonight or tomorrow?
Today, Thursday.
Oh, shit.
Thursday.
So that
Oh,
fight will be
okay.
over
Thursday
by
will
the
be
time you
over
guys
by
hear
t-
this.
Yeah.
What time's it on?
In the next 30 minutes.
We got to get that on.
Next 30 minutes.
Shit. Okay. How about this? Facebook. Facebook stock looks like it's having a little bit of trouble. I don't want to blow it out of proportion. But this is what's more interesting. It looks like the reason why is because they're showing a 51% rise in expenses. Now, for a company which I would guess has an insane amount of expenses anyway, what do you think you show a 51% rise on? What are they doing? I haven't seen anything different. It's still just my mom and my grandma on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the head count to fight all these privacy issues. I think it's also all the monitoring they're saying that they're supposedly doing. And I think they're just investing in like protecting consumer data. That's what the story that they're telling. But revenue and gross profit has not seen a slip. When I first saw the stock was dipping, I was like, man, did they miss on like revenue per user? Did they miss on any of the metrics that says Facebook and Instagram is slowing down?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Their expenses went up. But it just shows that like no matter the perception of this is a rare case that this business has it's a consumer business that has such a bad reputation and has not affected their business at all.
It's so
Because they have
wild.
such a monopoly on advertising.
Yeah, and with regards to the increase in employees, my assumption is Zuck just robots them out. So that'll come down in the long run.
Yeah.
Zuck has no emotions.
It takes a robot to know a robot.
And,
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
He's literally just the robot leader.
and I just don't know how they can grow their user base anymore. So they have 2.5 billion monthly users around the world.
I think 2.9.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's 7 billion people. How many of that 7 billion are under the age of 10 that can't even have a Facebook profile? Like, where are you getting more people? So you have to extract more revenue from the users, which is what Apple's done an incredible job. The Apple iPhone sales don't grow at the clip that they used to, but they're taking more money out of that same user.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, I've had an iPhone since 2007. You guys probably the same, and we just increased the amount we spend every year on that entire platform, whether it's AirPods, whether it's iTunes, App Store, Apple Plus.
Apple
And I
TV.
think the more interesting thing as a business, nobody's having the same success advertising on Facebook and Instagram they did 3 years ago, but clearly has not affected business.
Because there's nowhere else to
Yeah.
advertise.
Yeah.
It's a duopoly. It's Google and Facebook. There's nowhere else.
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing is this is the first time that they didn't break out revenue by Facebook and Instagram because they lumped it all in because they don't want to show that Facebook's revenue's got to be cratering.
Yeah.
They have to be panicking about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't be happy.
Can you
about
imagine if they did not buy Instagram?
They'd be
What this-
toast.
They'd literally be toast.
Yeah.
that. Or imagine if they bought something whack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That one bet paid
Changed-
off
Yeah.
so big. And everyone thought he was crazy for that.
Yeah.
The robot's smart.
Yeah, the robot knows what he's doing.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
He may not have
AI'd his
any
way.
empathy, but he sure is smart. Okay. What about another stock topic is Tesla. So Tesla is just crushing it. I mean, I remember we were celebrating not that long ago that it had reached 420.
Yeah.
And Elon kind of made a joke of that. And now it's way above. What's going on? Did he figure out all of the production issues? Is he the world's best CEO? Is he just the things have changed?
The stock closed on Thursday at 640. It had a massive jump after earnings, and it's now worth 115 billion. The company, Elon Musk is claiming that they will make more than 500,000 cars this year, which was way more than the target that anyone thought they would do. They've also turned a profit. There are some questions on accounting that people keep poking at. The way he's breaking out stuff is not fully transparent.
Think he's finessing it?
Little hanky-panky might be going on.
I mean, there's just no way Elon isn't doing something with the books. It's just, you'd be stupid just to assume this is all kosher. And a year ago when the stock was actually under pressure and people were calling, is Tesla going to be around? Forget the product and the branding. No one questioned the quality of a Tesla car, but everyone questioned, can they scale manufacturing? How is it in 1 year in this like intense manufacturing business? This isn't like, hey, we just need to fix a few things. Like, you completely turn around this. It's not even possible.
He's the El
He's a
Presidente
genius.
of cars.
He's
Yes.
a genius.
Yeah.
He is a genius. Now they're valued at like $110 billion
I love it.
on like 360,000 cars sold. I love Tesla just as much as the next person. I hope to drive one day. But this just sounds insane.
You think there's some tricky accounting going on?
I mean,
That's what you think. That's what you're alluding to.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not the first.
I think Elon would never do that. Never
Okay.
even consider it. He's a stand-up guy, and I don't think he would even consider it. I think you're a hater.
Ooh, gee.
Damn.
Okay,
You
I'm
should buy
kidding.
me
I
a
take it
Tesla.
back.
Yeah.
Maybe
Convince
not.
Make a
me.
bet. Make a Tesla bet.
Okay, and then what about we have to talk about Amazon real quick? What they're
They are crushing it right now. 21% increase in sales in the fourth quarter. Everyone else reported a struggle in holiday sales. Amazon did not. Things are fucking booming. Stock is up 10% in after hours. It's back over $1 trillion valuation. Record high for the stock. Everything's back to normal at Amazon.
Jeff's crushing it.
Of their like $4 billion of profit, though, 2.7 is AWS.
Screw it, man. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It doesn't
There's
matter.
Still an A.
No.
It's
Count it.
Yeah,
and the stock's up 11% in the after hours, which is insane
At
when
that
you
level.
consider how big of a company Amazon is. I mean, it's just mind blowing. This guy is living the goddamn life
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. How old is Jeff?
in his 50s.
Okay, so think about the fact that this freaking dork
Yeah.
was just a dork, smart as shit, but a dork his whole
Booking
life.
tables online in Miami 2 years ago.
Yes, and even the fact that he was booking tables, even the fact that he was at Live was probably just incredible.
Yeah.
At 50, this
56.
guy is the 56, the richest guy in the world, back and forth. Having such wild success, has a new bae who's hacking his phone, doesn't even give a shit. The Saudis are on him. Everyone, he's just like, fuck it. And now he's like, you know, on yachts with superstars.
He's pulling up on 90-foot yachts to restaurants in Miami.
Yeah.
He's partying in the Mediterranean.
I know we make fun of him a lot, but I think he hit it.
I just want to know. I mean, we'll never know because we'll never get to the top of Amazon.
Yeah.
Like how it's structured, how it works.
Yeah.
Like the company's unbeatable. Right?
I just want to know how do you operate a company of that size? And so I know he's obviously not hands-on making all these decisions, but how do you structure it to where you continue to win so big, steering such a massive ship? I mean, I have 37 employees. It's so hard to get production to be on the same page.
I think Amazon has 798,000 employees.
I mean, how the fuck? What does that look like?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think what Jeff Bezos was so laser focused on was, and it's like these businesses, Facebook and Amazon and Apple, right? They found their hero product item or the few hero product items, and they were just so focused on it. Prime and AWS give him such a moat against everybody else.
Yep.
So like everyone talks about that in business. You got to have a moat. The Prime moat for the concept of shopping is the biggest moat in the world.
Yeah.
Like you can you can't compete on selling anything on the internet if it's not Prime. So like he kind of owns e-commerce for that purpose, right? And I think that's what he was, I think, laser focused on, is getting this moat. The other interesting thing is the fact the stock is up 10, 11% just in after hours, and there are professional managers of funds that get paid millions of dollars to go invest in things. And all you really had to do, like I was searching on Twitter with after hours, the Amazon stock, and there's just like random kids who bought Amazon stock 5 years ago, and I returned 1,000%, and he's like 24 years old.
Yeah, you could have overnight made what people get paid to do for a whole year.
100%.
And they would they'd be incredible investors.
If you got 10% in your fund, you look like a genius.
Yeah. But here's the difference between Amazon and Tesla. So what Tesla was under fire a year ago, they magically fixed all this in 12 months.
Yeah.
Amazon has been under fire for 15 years because no one believed that this model would work.
Yeah.
And it took 15 years to prove that it worked. Sure, the stock, everyone knew Amazon was being a great business, but to turn a $4 billion profit, that's from investment 15, 20 years ago in infrastructure and fulfillment centers that brought goods quicker and closer to you.
So what you're saying is Elon's so good he can do what it took Bezos 15 years in 1 year.
1 year.
Wow.
That's amazing. Or maybe
Good for him.
Maybe his accounting office. I just oftentimes when I get stressed at work, I think about stress really is relative, right?
I think about Jeff Bezos pulling up on that 90-foot yacht to the Miami restaurant.
No, why it's all worth it. I think about what did Jeff Bezos have to deal with today. So I'm worried about like, production was late and so therefore whatever, the hang tags are wrong on this shirt. This guy's literally like, the Saudis are after me, my dick pics are out, I'm being extorted possibly by President Trump. We got to open new fulfillment centers in all these different regions. All of these things, that has to be what's on his mind every day.
Yeah. It's
unbelievable. And then
meanwhile, he's skiing.
He's skiing and he's having a beer with cousin Gary. He's playing at both sides, right?
Yeah. Not a care in the world. I don't get it, man. I would give everything just to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we get a documentary?
I mean, I wish,
They
man. I wish I could just get the Saudi phone records. Just let me peruse through the text messages and see how he manages people. Anyway, okay, let's talk about. Oh, quickly, I want to talk about robots. You mentioned robots with Zuckerberg. Oh, he's going to replace all these jobs with robots. What is the update on robots? I haven't really heard much. I think I've kind of been sidelined by coronavirus and all these other.
So a lot of people, including Bill Gates, feels that if you replace human jobs with robots, that you should be taxed as a corporation. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that there's going to be enormous loss of payroll tax revenue with all the automation that's coming to the market. Mm-hmm. I think that stifles innovation Like, if a robot can do a better job, we should figure that out first.
Yep.
And then the market always figures itself out. Like, people, I think, like 2 years ago, if you said, oh, I'm a social media guy, I'm an influencer, and people would never take that as a career, and they would laugh at them. Now, I mean, if I did a run club event at like Tuesday at 3 p.m., I'm pretty sure it'd be crowded.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole world of new jobs that has been created in this new market that wouldn't have existed if we didn't innovate. And I think everyone's so afraid of robots that we're going to hold back all that innovation and efficiency in the fear that there won't be another set of jobs created, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the robots are coming. It's sort of like learn to live with them
Yeah.
or you're going to be screwed. So
Hug a robot.
I just don't get how, I mean, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you walk through any like middle America high school, they're teaching the same things they taught when I was in high school.
Yeah.
which is insane.
Which is insane because even if you go back to when I was in high school, it's already hard enough to make it in the world with that knowledge.
Yeah.
But where we're headed, like the fact that we don't educate for where we're going, not for where we were, is super crazy to me. And I don't want to ever get like fear, oh my God, the sky is falling. But it seems like you're headed for an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
Every company is trying to figure out how to use robots, and the whole school system is trying to teach you how to be a factory worker.
Yeah.
I've heard so many parents that have kids of like 12, 13 where they're actually doing real homework and they see what their kids are learning and what they're doing. They're like, why are you wasting your time? Like these are smart parents telling their educated kids like this is a waste of your time because this isn't going to get you anywhere.
Just study El Presidente.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He should do a college, Barstool U.
Yeah.
Barstool U would be massive.
Massive.
Oh, are you kidding?
I would go.
Tomorrow.
Pete will go get a
I'm
PhD.
quitting, and I'm going right to
I'm gonna
Barstool
do,
U.
you know what celebrities do at Harvard, like audit classes or whatever? I'd do that. Yeah. Holy cow.
That's a
Okay.
fucking genius idea.
It just feels scary, man.
We should license it.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those times. It feels like in The Big Short. It just feels like you're looking at an issue that has to end really bad, but no one seems to be really concerned.
Well, no one has an answer, and people are too lazy to make drastic decisions.
But it's almost like you don't have an answer, so you're trying nothing.
right.
Which is
I mean, that's
bad.
what American retail did for the last 20 years.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, now the good thing about robots is they can't get sick.
Yeah.
And right now, we have a problem where, especially over in China, it might be nice to have a few robots.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of worried. It seems like this coronavirus is like a way bigger deal than what they're saying. Now the way that China is responding seems insane. Closing restaurants, closing movie theaters, grounding flights. Everyone in Wuhan is cordoned off.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems like a real problem.
World Health Organization came out and declared it a global emergency. There's a cruise ship off the coast of Italy
Oh my God. That's so bad.
of supposed cases on the cruise ship.
And so they're trapped.
They're trapped. The plane that landed in Riverside from China with 200 people, they were all cheering when they got in, and now those people are being quarantined. And the challenge is that it takes incubation period for Wuhan is 2 to 14 days. So you really need to quarantine those people for 14 days, not 3 days, like what's being done right now. And now there's also American Airlines pilots are suing American Airlines saying we need to stop all flights to and from mainland China.
China's effectively has come to a standstill.
I mean, saying those words is insane. We're talking about China. We're talking about where everything is made, where there's obviously a shit ton of people. Like, that's really bad.
It's bad. This is how you get into a recession. Think about the impact. Imagine after Chinese New Year. This is a serious conversation I had with Josh, our CEO for New Republic. I was like, we should seriously look at a few other countries as options.
Yeah.
Because I have this weird gut feeling after Chinese New Year, which is like a 3-week holiday in China where the factory workers usually go to wherever they came from or travel and then they come back, I have a feeling people might not come back.
Oh, no one's coming back. If you got out before Chinese New Year or before this all started, you are not going back to China.
No. I'm talking about internally in China. I think the fear of going out with next to people is going to be so grave that they're like, you know what? I don't need that job in Guangzhou with 4,000 other people because I don't know.
I mean, there's a video today of, I don't think it was fake news. It looked real. The Beijing train station at 1:30 p.m. I would imagine the Beijing train station at 1:30 p.m. is probably one of the most crowded places on earth.
Yeah.
Completely ghost town.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a video, thank you to my dad, because my dad keeps me real informed.
Yes.
He sent me a video about the real, and this was on the Daily today for New York Times. This all started because in Wuhan, there's like live animal markets.
Yes.
And they sell weird exotic animals like wolves and
Well, bats is where they're saying this
Yeah.
virus originated from.
and there's a photo of a girl with like bat soup.
Yeah.
And it's like a dead bat and soup. And
Yeah.
like it's the most insane thing ever.
Yeah.
And the live mice.
You know, it's
Live mice.
and it's something we've talked about at length that China's taking over the entire world. What could stop them?
This.
Yes.
Wuhan. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. Once again, I know that I keep saying it. I'm not a fan of like scare news, but this feels gnarly.
Yeah.
And you said last night that you saw some like projection, one of you, where like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
number of cases versus the number of deaths and how that could potentially project out to October. And there's like 1 million people dead or something.
1 million people dead if it stayed on this track that we're at for confirmed cases versus deaths. And there's no, obviously, any solution or anything found.
And it takes years. It
Yeah.
takes 2 years to find a cure for this thing.
Yeah. So
But
why,
is this the same as like SARS and like is this the same thing? Is this how it felt when that was happening?
but SARS, so to put things in perspective, when SARS came out, 10% of people infected with SARS died. This is currently less than 3%. So it's definitely not as impactful.
But it's just spreading faster, I
It's
think.
spreading, I mean, globally. It's in France. It's in Germany. It's in LA. There's 3 cases in LA.
And we just had a live meeting. I shook a lot of hands last night.
Yeah.
I've never washed my hands so quick.
You want to know interesting about washing hands? I was reading about like best practices and wearing a mask and all those types of things. They said to wash your hands for 20 seconds. You know how
Oh,
long?
yeah.
You're supposed to sing happy birthday. Like that's equivalent to.
What am I, a surgeon?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
You don't get to sing it out loud for
That's how
And you
locked
have
up in
to
a
use
mental
warm
hospital.
water. Warm water,
I
20
know.
seconds.
Yeah. 20 seconds is a long
I
time.
like a cold water.
What's Purell get me? Anything?
Nothing.
Now they're saying
Nothing?
Purell's not going to work.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Don't
Purell
quote me on
doesn't
this.
cure
but-
Wuhan. If you have Wuhan, you shake my hand, I Purell, I'm dead.
Yeah. You might as well just dig your grave because that's where you're going to be.
I'm buying a mask tonight.
You should get rubbing alcohol.
They're saying that's not going to work for the Wuhan.
Okay.
The Wuhan.
It's not Wuhan. There's not.
Well, it's not the Wuhan, but
It's now
become
called
the
the
Wuhan.
Wuhan because that seems scarier.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, be careful out there, guys. Get some masks, N95s. You guys be careful at Super Bowl.
Yes.
I'm just saying, Chinese people love Super Bowl.
Do they?
Yeah, they love football. Real big.
People think there's going to be some like backlash against Chinese people.
I think there already has been some cases.
There's definitely
like
a
Chinese people
fear
getting
of-
bullied in schools.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
school kids are so mean. Like I expect that. I'm just talking in regular life.
You don't think that, like, in Ohio, where I'm from, a Chinese person walking through the mall isn't going to get a little bit more love?
Didn't you see Donald post? Donald's our friend. He's Asian. He was flying on a Delta flight, and he Instagramming that the woman in front of him kept looking back at him like he was carrying
just started
coronavirus.
coughing.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's like, I wanted to start coughing just to like piss her off.
But that would have scared everybody.
See, but that's what I'm saying. A Chinese person coughing
Yeah.
will scare people.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
What was your comment last night?
Me?
No, D's.
No, we're
about-
not going to say that.
Oh, we're not saying that one?
No,
That's
moving
why we
on.
didn't air the episode.
Okay.
Okay. Let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Let's move on to winners, losers content. Anand, I'm going to start with you. Who is your biggest winner of the last week?
Brown people.
Brown people.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So the CEO of IBM was either let go or resigned. Stocks underperformed the last 5-6 years. And we have another brown mega CEO coming to the table. His name's Arvind Krishna. So now we have the CEO of IBM, CEO of Google, CEO of Microsoft, MasterCard, and Adobe.
And Menlo Club.
And Menlo Club.
That's good, man. Okay, well, yeah, celebrate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm worried about us white people long term. Yeah. I just don't think things are trending in our direction. Okay.
Well, my winner is
Yeah, give it to me.
my winner is a white male, an
Thank
old
you.
white male,
Thank you so much. We could use that.
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, jeez.
He is surging in the polls in Iowa and New Hampshire, where the first two caucuses are going to be held to elect the Democratic candidate. And I kind of didn't give him a shot again this time. I felt like that momentum for running for president was fading. And just to see that he's been able to still kind of capture people and engage them has been phenomenal. Like he's more than likely going to be the candidate.
How does it work? Like, do they choose one?
Yeah. And then he picks a running mate.
Yeah, but
Once
that's it.
No, so it starts in Iowa, then goes to New Hampshire, then it goes to multiple other states. There's
But when you become the
delegates.
Democratic candidate,
That's
Yes,
it.
that's it.
I don't like that. Someone else needs more time. And what happens to Bloomberg? He's allowed to be on his own?
But he's
No,
running
he's
as a
just going to
Democrat.
fund
Oh, so
whoever
he would.
wins.
Yeah.
Because he went on Jimmy Fallon. And, like, seemed like he still had some fight in him.
No, he's great. The problem is he's not part of you still need the machine of the Democratic Party.
And you
win.
need to have a personality.
So he just lit, like, $100 million on fire?
He was buying a Super Bowl ad too. He's spending $10 million on the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Bernie's cool, but I worry about him.
Okay.
I think Trump wants Bernie.
Yeah.
He's tweeted multiple times that Democrats are holding Bernie back.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's going to mop the floor.
Yeah.
He will mop Bernie. I mean, he will run laps around Bernie.
I think it'll be really good debates because Bernie's not.
I
afraid
think
to-
Trump's not going to debate him. Why would he debate him?
Yeah.
I don't think Bernie can fight, man. He's frail.
No.
He had a heart attack in, like, the preliminary lead up.
Bernie is. You got to watch him speak. He's passionate.
No, he's a great speaker.
I just don't know if he can fight.
He can fight. I think he's ready.
Okay. All right, my winner's easy. I was trying to pick a better one, but it's an absolute blowout. It's El Presidente.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think look, it seemed risky to me them taking on money. He handled it so flawlessly. The guy literally put out a sex tape a month ago. He did the unthinkable and leaned into it and used it for marketing.
Yeah.
And now brought on this huge amount of money. He's soaring into Super Bowl, probably on top of the world. And I think it's perfect. And what Barstool's going to become over the next couple of years is going to be, I think, pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Could be
agree.
the top case for the social media generation of businesses and influencers and whatever, the top marker for what could happen.
Yeah, it's the new use case for modern day media.
Yep. Okay.
Incredible.
Okay. Who's the loser?
My loser is the city of Los Angeles. I think it's crazy the impact Kobe Bryant had on the city, and you just see it. I've been wearing Lakers stuff, and the faces of everybody is so just sad.
Yep.
And I think it's going to take a long time for people to get over it.
Yeah.
I think that someone DM me saying that in their town, people are talking about it, but then it's not probably what it's like in LA.
Yep.
It has not stopped in terms of the coverage, the emotions, people talking about it. And I think this particular incident is going to take a long time for people to get over because I
Yep.
think it's so tragic.
Yep.
And then there's just so much attached to Kobe that I think it's just devastating.
You know what the coolest thing is to me so far? Is that every one of the public transportation buses has
Oh, yeah.
RIP
Yeah, the
Kobe.
RIP Kobe.
Yeah.
Every one.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it says where they're going and then RIP Kobe. It's the
Yeah.
coolest thing.
Every building I drive by, every day I discover, 24, 8,
Yeah.
Kobe. It's crazy.
I'm just going to give you my other side. I was going to give Kobe my winner because, man, I know I've said it a couple of times, And I know, I'm sure he wouldn't have wanted to go out this way and leave his family and all that stuff. But damn it, man, to be celebrated like this in the city, like his whole life wanted to play for the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted growing up in Italy or
Yeah.
whatever. And to dominate, never leave the Lakers, get his 5 rings or whatever it was, and then have the city recognize him on this level.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything on this scale. It didn't feel like this when Michael Jackson died.
No, because
No, the length of it. The initial shock was crazy, but we're almost a week in, and I don't think there's been any slowdown in the terms of like impact and the level people are still talking about it.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to.
And I think you're going to keep seeing it because it's going to be like, I don't know. I pray that they do, but I wish the NBA would change their logo.
Yeah.
But like something like that will happen, or something. The seats last night at the Brooklyn game had flowers on
Right.
them for Kobe and Gigi.
Yeah.
I think you'll continue to see these like tributes and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I just what a way to be remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
and the one thing, because it's the same for me, loser Los Angeles, like no question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a take I heard, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I think it's an important one. If you think about the greater Los Angeles area, it's actually a blue-collar region.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there's rich people in West Hollywood and Beverly Hills and like the bubbles. But if you think about, it's not the people at Staples Center who can afford to go to the games, it's the people at the Laker Parade that really
Yeah.
is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And his work ethic gave everyone hope.
Yeah.
Like you work your ass off, you wake up, you don't complain, and results will come. Just put your head down and work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what everyone gravitated towards.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking last night, like there are so many people, and this is going to sound really negative, but there are so many people that maybe only affect 1 or 2 people truly positively in their life. There's a lot of people that affect hundreds of people negatively. Even if
Right.
you're
Yeah.
cutting people off in traffic, bad attitude at this, you make people's days worse.
Yeah.
This guy made an insane amount of people's days better. And I bet if you could somehow track it back to people who actually thought more of themselves and will continue to now from this and actually did better because of Kobe,
Right.
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Anywho, my loser is the culture of Chinese leadership.
Okay.
The reason I'm so specific is because it seems like that is the reason for this outbreak. And it seems like what happened is Chinese leadership is so strict on bad news getting out. You act perfect. And if you do make a mistake, it's off with your head. How dare you? And it seems like this Wuhan virus coronavirus started to have a bit of a bubbling and a bit of an outbreak, and nobody reported it because they thought they could just flub the numbers
Yep.
and not test people at the hospitals and do all these things that would cover up their mistake, not to expose and say, hey, we have a real problem here, something got out of hand.
Yeah.
And I think now because of your stupid dictator-style leadership where you try to act so perfect, you now have infected the entire world
Yeah.
with this stupid virus.
It's a
You
great
couldn't
take.
just admit you were wrong.
I like
Great
that.
take. I like it.
What you do
I
is
guess
who
we'll
you
never
are.
be live from Shanghai.
Yeah, not anytime soon, that's for sure. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys. No, content. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Dee, what's your content?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, there's no question. If you're not watching the Super Bowl,
You're not American.
I agree. Get out.
yeah.
Sheesh, get out. You guys sound like the same guys that don't want anyone kneeling. Respect the game, damn it.
I don't care if you don't like football, you don't like sports. This is a cultural moment in the United States of America. Participate, please.
Have a snack.
Have a beer.
Have a weenie.
Have a weenie.
Shove a weenie in your mouth and enjoy the weekend.
Have some celery, like Alana said.
Yeah.
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
She posted
Celery.
Come on, Alana.
Oh yeah, she
You
came
know
up with the
that's
whole
boring.
thing today.
You know that's a shitty snack. Okay, I want to have one that's it's very similar. Mine is specifically Post Malone's Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
He posted it on Instagram. It's really, really funny.
Okay.
But it is the fact, we've talked about it a little bit before. We saw Post Malone when he was this up-and-coming artist with a bubbling song on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was chugging Bud Light.
Yeah.
And we were at Coachella, and all he wanted was Bud Light.
Yeah.
And he dreamed of being able to work with Bud Light or do a Bud Light party or anything, but he couldn't because he was too young. You have to be 25. He now has a Super Bowl commercial announcing Bud Light's new product.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So they already released it? Isn't the whole point of
No,
Super
all the
Bowl
commercials are out.
So
What
what's
they did that was really smart was they said, hey guys, we can't choose between these two commercials. You pick and that'll be the one on the Super Bowl.
that
that's
ruins like the whole point of
But they've been doing that
watching
for
commercial-
years.
I mean, I guess, we
Yeah.
don't watch it
Yeah.
on TV.
Yeah.
It's not even about it's just a flex now.
Because everyone's going to see it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe there's a longer version. I don't know. Listen, that's my content.
Great.
Okay, that's it, guys. Have fun at Super Bowl. Everyone have fun watching the Super Bowl. Stay safe. Get an N95 mask. Be careful around people that are coughing or have runny noses.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our newsletter, group-chat.com. And that's it. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Monday.